And it gives me great pleasure to introduce Mr. Bob Bauer, who is actually born in this lovely city of Delano and has chosen to make this his home again. So, Mr. Bob Bauer, please join us. There you go.
Okay, if you can hear me. I'm not going to go year by year because this is the first time that I have seen this book. I've reviewed the area, the years that I'm supposed to cover, so I'm just going to kind of ad-lib. First off, I was born here in Delano. I know the exact spot. It's the southwest corner of High and 12th Avenue is where I was born. Also, a name that wasn't mentioned in one of the early founders of Delano was my great-uncle Ben Thomas, who came to Delano in the late 1800s, 1890 and something. He was pretty prominent in what went on in Delano. He had the first general merchandise store in Delano. He planted the first orange trees in the area of Delano. He was the founder of the first telephone system in Delano. I am told, I wasn't here then. And although he built probably the first two-story house here in Delano at the actually 1600 block of 10th Avenue, which then was out in the country. As I say, I was born here in Delano. I didn't live. I'm probably the oldest one that was born in Delano that's still living in Delano. If anybody else is here that can take that honor, I'll be glad to give it to them. But it's kind of an honor. I'm glad to be here at this age. The period that was covered, I really didn't think in this book that perhaps my family was mentioned, but it is mentioned through on page 61. They do mention my great-grandfather, Homer Bauer, who came here in the early 1900s. I'm supposed to cover the years 41 to, 41 to 65, I think, or whatever. Anyway, I did come back to Delano in 1945 after I'd served my time in the service. So I'm going to start out. I'm supposed to cover 1941. And the only thing, it mentions that that's the year that the Pandel brothers started in Delano, so everybody remembers them. The rest of the time, I haven't looked at this book before. This adventure was dumped on me just recently, so I haven't had a chance to too much. But I'm going to just kind of skip around and generalize with some of the stuff that I think might be of some interest. People that I know. In 1945, which is the year I came back to Delano, also I see Nick Daly, started a Daly studio here. Nick Daly was a good friend of mine. Have known him all my time here. He's more prominent in my memory now because, as most you know, his grandson, who took over his business, recently suddenly passed away, which was a shock and a tragedy to all of us who knew the family. Nick had a good deal of what went on in Delano, as this book will tell you. Most of you will be getting this book and will be reading it, so I'm not going to dwell on all the years. I may touch on some of the people that I know and that might be of interest. One thing that I did notice, it was in 1938, which is in the years that I'm supposed to cover. That's my notes. The Kiwanis Club of Delano was formed. I think the name was, they had their charter. And actually, this is appropriate because the Kiwanis Club was the one that provided our excellent sandwiches for today. But I have here a copy of something. During this period was the year that when Ralph Carpenter came to Delano. And most of you know Ralph. He was a guiding light of many things that went on in Delano. And he brought this that I have a copy of. The Delano Kiwanis Club was chartered in Delano on December the 9th of 1954. And I am pretty sure I was one of the directors at that time. I'm sure I'm probably the only one still alive. So mainly, the only thing I can say is if you live in Delano and if you take after me, you'll live to be a long life. That's one of the benefits of being in Delano, I think. this, as of interest to some people who may or may not know it, I'm going to read the names of the directors of the first Kiwanis Club that was started in Delano, which is the name of the period that I'm in here. You'll recognize these names. These were the directors: Dr. Clifford Loader, John Drake, Lawrence Thayer, myself, Bob Bauer, Arthur Post, Morton V. Slater, Dr. Philip Windsor, Ralph Carpenter, Clarence Hanson, and Marvin Cole. Those are all long gone, except I think Bill Taylor was in there. He is still alive in Bakersfield. No, Bill Taylor was just a member. He was just a member. He wasn't a director. But anyway, during the period that I'm supposed to be covering, so many things that are of important happened. The book, have been able to briefly go over this as long as I have been up here, and look at loose papers. I think I had one. There's Nick Daly. See, this is new to me. I've got this. Well, anyway, one thing that was important, 1947 was a year just like this year. We only had 4.58 inches of rain. And that's been this is one of the bits of information that is pretty important in this book. My only recommendation to hear these highlights, such as, in other words, if I'd had written notes and all the things that happened in these particular years, I would have been able to give them to you. All I can say is buy this book, read all this period that went on in this time, and you will get your money's worth. The people that put this together did an excellent job, and although since I've retired, I haven't been that active in the community affairs. I'm still aware of what goes on, and like today, if somebody asks me to volunteer something, I'll do my best. It's not very good, but I'll do my best. So the period that I'm supposed to cover is in this book. Take it from there.
Boy, if that wasn't a plug to buy the book, thank you so much, Bob. We appreciate that. And the books are on sale. They're in front of the historical park, so please buy a book, and the committee will autograph it for you.